So today we're going to look at what's in this brown box, and we have a Valken M17 M17-2, I think is the correct title for it. Now this used to be the Milsig M17, and it's been around for around about 8 years now. So 2014 was when it was first released by Milsig. So I think Valken just distribute it now. So I think it's still made in the same place it was originally made, but it's undergone some, a serious amount of changes, and we're gonna have a look at some of those now. Where it's changed most is actually internally. We've got a polymer body, so I think it's glass reinforced nylon. It's a strong polymer body, like a polymer that you'd find used in firearms. This has changed. So the A2 version, so when Valken started distributing the A2 version, which saw most of the changes happen, was around about 2017, and it's almost like it looks the same but completely different at the same time. So we've got reinforced polymer. The polymer is stronger now. We've got steel reinforced grip. So there was problems with these flexing, because basically what happened is there was a race back in 2014 who can make the first fully auto mechanical 68 cal Magfed gun, and Milsig won that race. In fact, I think probably 2-3 years later, I think we might have seen First Strike come out with their full auto kit for the T15, but Milsig won that race, but probably brought things to market a little bit too soon. The problems that they had, they were all resolved, I believe, in 2017, the A2 version, because what you've got now is a sub, I mean, we'll call it budget. It's still close to 300 pounds, 300 bucks, 300 euros. So, you know, it sounds crazy calling something budget that's for that sort of money. But when you look at what this can do, that is good value in the paintball world. We've got here on the grip is ambidextrous. So it's good for lefties as well. The lefties have not been forgotten. So there we are. And what you'll find also here, if we can zoom in, is that you've got a couple of screws there. And what that's doing is that's preventing this from going into full auto function, because depending on where you are in the world, it may or may not be legal to use full auto on this marker. So guys, if you managed to get to this point in the video, if you give us some encouragement with a thumbs up, that would be great. If you want to see more videos like this, sort of Magfed rifles or air pistols, we've got a stack that we've already done, and we've got a stack lined up for the future. So if you could hit the subscribe button and the notifications, that would be great. Now we're going to carry on with the video. Another great thing for lefties and righties is you've got a paddle release. So that allows the mags to be released. And in this box, what we get with this is you get a barrel, and that's a tighter bore size now than it used to be originally. That's a 1-inch diameter, I'm guessing 8-inch barrel. You get your 13 CI buttstock. You get one 18-round paintball or First Strike ready magazine, and you're going to need more of those, really. If you're going to be playing Magfed, you're going to need more of those. And we've got safety equipment, your barrel stop, and you've got some oil and a few O-rings to do some maintenance. Dead simple to operate. What I'm going to do, I'm just going to put this to one side and show you one with the tank already fitted. Here we have one sort of fully loaded and ready to go. We've got 13 CI tank in the back of it. That doesn't come with the gun. This is a Pro Toys version, so it's available. It's not that expensive. You're looking 40-50 bucks, 40-50 pounds for a 13 CI tank, and that will return. That'll give you between 150 and 160 shots, which makes this a really, really efficient Magfed marker. I would say probably if you're firing full auto, you're going to see less than that. But when you're firing semi, you know, one trigger pull, one ball leaves the gun, which is what most people who are playing Magfed are going to be using, because let's face it, full auto, when you've only got 18 rounds, mag's going to be empty. You're going to be reloading all the time and probably missing half of what you're shooting at. Maintenance wise, this has got some great features. So on this side, you've just got a couple of split pins here. we were just going to take those out, and I'm going to show you the heat core. So the heat core is what they call the name of the engine of the gun, what powers the gun. You can do it with your fingers. It's probably easier to do it with a tool, but you can do it with your fingers. Now this is under tension, so the bolt has got springing in it. So just be careful when you're doing this. Now I'm going to take the safety off because the bolt is held in place with the seat, and I'm just going to pull the trigger, and then hopefully everything will gently come out. So that's your heat core. This can be all disassembled. We're not going to go into that now, but that can all be disassembled and re-greased. Then your bolt and your spring comes out, which means you basically get a squeegee through the whole body of the gun. So if you do get a break, it's going to take you a couple of minutes to sort that out. So let's put that back in a great British tradition. Here's one we made earlier. So we've just got this one ready. We've just attached the barrel and put the stock on. Show you briefly how to do the stock. 13 CI screws on, or a larger tank if you want, but obviously you can't put the stock on. It's got to be a tank that's 2 inch in diameter. So to get this on, you lift that up, lift that right up, on it goes, ready to go. At the bottom here, that is your that's your adjuster. That's your adjuster for velocity, and it's pretty simple. It's clockwise to go up, anti-clockwise to go down, and it's as easy as that. I'm just going to show you how you load the mags. So there's 18 rounds, 18 first strikes or 18 paintballs. They recommend 18. You might be able to squeeze another one in there. I would say go with what the manufacturer recommends. There's a reason they say 18. You'll probably find if you squeeze any more in that is you end up getting breaks. So go with the 18 that they recommend. Now these are wind up, so it's not it's a pretty old school design. It works. Now you just got to be really careful that you don't, there's a point where the tension, you can feel a real increase in the tension, and that's you've wound it as far as it needs to go. That will be held in tension until you insert that into the gun, and there's just a release there. So when it goes into the mag well, that releases it. Then there's pressure on the balls feeding it into the chamber. So for test firing, we're using graffiti, and what I will say is this spring is designed for first strike and paintballs. So what you're going to find is that it's probably a harder spring than what you'd find if it was specific. There's a lot of mags that will use a specific spring for first strike and a specific spring for paintballs. You tend to find with paintballs the spring's much lighter because it just feeds the paintballs. It's just easier to feed around spherical shape round than it is to feed like a first strike round, which we're going to look at in a second. I would say you're probably going to need quite a hard shell paint when you're using these mags. It's a guess. We're going to find out. Graffiti is a good paint to use for Magfed markers. It's a good shape. Tends to perform well. We are shooting indoors, but the warehouse we're shooting in is freezing cold. So cold weather and paintballs are not a good combination, and that's ready to go. So I think I think you've got space at the top for about another ball, but I wouldn't fill that space. That is ready to shoot paintballs, and we've got another one here. We don't have any first strikes at the moment, so we're using what's called a shape projectile. It's a Wrap 4 red nylon round, or MCS red nylon round. They're pretty good. They're not to be shot at any living thing. They're pretty good for practice, for setting up any sort of first strike gun. You can diagnose problems without having to go to the expense of breaking first strikes. What I will say, one tip, if you find that these get out of shape, I'm not sure if we can see that, but sometimes they get out of shape. The fins get a little bit bent out. Because they're nylon, you can just put them in hot, not boiling water, and then they spring back into the right shape. So if you've ever had these, or you've got these, you're finding that they're a little bit bent out of shape, they're not feeding properly, just put them in hot, not boiling water, and they should spring back to life. So with these, you need to make sure that you can see in the square-headed round that the breech, the opening is D-shaped. So it's pretty it's pretty straightforward to know which way goes which, is that the business end goes in forward facing. So another thing that changed on the sort of A2 version is that they've enlarged the breech, which makes feeding first strikes much better. I'm not sure if we can see inside there, but that's a bigger breech than it used to be. It's a better shape for first strike. They feed a lot better. Less flips, less breaks, less jams. We're going to put our goggles on, and we're going to shoot it. So we shot it, had a few issues with the paint, not hugely surprised because it is winter, it's cold. I do feel that, not sure how you would do it, but if you can, then I would say if you're predominantly using round ball, then I would see if you can get a spring that's a little bit softer, or alternatively use a harder shell paint. Graffiti's usually pretty good, but we had a few problems. Don't think it's the gun, really think it's a case of the conditions, and the paint just wasn't quite right for the spring that's in the magazine. What we did notice though is that with the shape projectiles, not one jam, it shot great, we were hitting the target. Obviously we had our goggles on, so it's always a little bit difficult to aim with goggles on down an unsighted gun without having risers and etc on. But from 50 feet, we were headshots pretty much every single shot. I'm not the best shooter, so was quite pleased with the results of that. Very, I think this is, for the price it is, we're calling it budget. You might not think it's a budget. I don't really think close to $300 is a budget, but other things that can fire first strikes and paintballs, you're looking at double the price. If you can use it, this full auto function that's on this gun, you know, if you're somewhere in the world where you can use it, that's just a great feature. Full mechanical auto on a sub $300 bucks gun, £300 gun, that's good value. With the shape projectiles, it was hitting that target every time. Efficiency's great, probably one of the most efficient Magfed markers out there at the moment. I was very impressed. Glad that the things that were wrong have been sorted. Don't think Valken would have taken it into its stable and distributed it had that not been the case. And yeah, we were very few problems. So this is definitely something we'd recommend. If you're on a budget, you're looking for a Magfed gun that will fire both sorts of ammo, because first strike are great fun. Why wouldn't you want to shoot one? Then I would definitely go for one of these. Very impressed. A few more things we haven't said about it is that the barrel, A5 threaded, so any A5 threaded barrel will fit this, and so you can put a specifically FS rifle barrel on there, or you can put a barrel that's more suitable to round ball. Definitely something worth doing. Great little marker from Valken Milsig, the M17A2. So thanks for watching, guys. Thanks for reaching the end of this video. And we do really appreciate it, and we'll see you next time.